Welcome to the inUpowers podcast, where we give a name and a face to emotion. We discuss the real and raw when it comes to mental and emotional health. We are here to teach you that emotions are information and behavior is a choice. We want to help you make safer connections through healthy communication by empowering you to understand what your emotions are telling you. I'm your host, Tammy Hymas. Let's get started. Welcome to the inUpowers podcast. I'm your host, Tammy Hymas, and today we have with us Alice Manwaring. She is a licensed clinical social worker. She's also registered in play therapy and has a background in trauma therapy. And let me just tell you, Alice is amazing with the most infectious laugh. I hope to get her to laugh today. And she has been our therapist who has helped us so much build this program to be so sustainable, and she works with children all the time, and I am incredibly honored to have her on with me. And just so you know, I also did her hair before. I haven't for a while, but my team does, but I've known her for a long time, and I truly love her, and I'm just super excited for you to get to know her. But before we do that, we have to have our Moments Minute. Have you ever struggled to understand how you're feeling? Have you ever just wanted somebody to get it or see it so that you could make it make more sense? The visuals of our inUpowers, where the reactives are natural phenomenon and our proactives are body organs, the visuals are very easy, they're very child-friendly, there's no ethnicity, there's no race or culture, they're just humans because we love our human family. And we're going to talk more about that throughout this segment, but just have you ever wished that you could have an identity to your emotion more than an emoji? Because sometimes emojis mean different things to different people, but these characters with their acronyms and all the deep stuff about them, it makes it a lot easier to get to know. Hello, Alice. How are you?
Hello. I am good. Thank you for inviting me here today.
Awesome. What else did I not tell people about you that I needed to say?
Oh, I think that was a lot. A lot of people don't understand play therapy a lot, and that you can actually be registered for it, and that it's actually a therapy that you can use with kids 5 and under and into teenage years, and even adults you can do play therapy with. But I have a background in trauma, and neurodivergency is something that I've really been focused on recently because I'm finding that there's a lot more of that in children, teenagers, and adults.
You're like, how do I say everyone?
Yeah, everyone.
Because adults and all of us need therapy, right?
We do.
And we need to play. Why does play therapy work?
Because a recognition of development, and no matter how old you are, development sometimes can be different. And so kids, especially kids, play is their language.
Oh.
And they know things by the age of 3. They watch their environment, the people around them, and they play it out with dolls, with puppets, with superheroes, different kinds of characters, blocks, toys, any toy in general. They play out what they see around them because they don't really understand feelings. They can't make that connection cognitively under 10 years old. And so they have to express it some way. And by watching them, reflecting them, allowing them to play and playing with them as an adult.
So are you saying that you get to play with kids?
I get to play with kids for work.
Wait. Yeah. But I need to just say that better. You get to play with kids. You get to do therapies, but you're actually just sitting with children and letting them play.
Yes, allowing them to play, allowing them to express their emotions, what they see around them, to show me a view of their world.
Wow. How often do you see parents play with their kids and let the kids play the way they want to?
You don't see that very often, but there is a family play therapy that they can do that. And I have had sessions of family doing that. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you get to know the family dynamic when you do. But I think a lot of parents are so busy that they don't think, oh, I should sit here spend a certain amount of time with kids, like 30 minutes, just sitting playing with them, observing them, or being the daughter or the mom as the character, and letting them direct the session.
Wow.
Or their play, to show them like, oh, wow, they picked up some things from me. Oh, I didn't know they felt that way. Because obviously when we think of development and cognitive at different stages of life, that it's different. And so it opens up a whole world.
Do you think it's important for parents to sit and make time every day or a certain amount of time to play with their kids?
Yes, at least 15 minutes a day, and just focus on them.
Just on them.
On
So can the parents like say, I'm going to drive a car and you're going to have to follow my rules, or do we let the child run it, or do we let the parent run it when it's play?
We let the child run it. You let them direct it, and they get to choose what the character is, what the name is, whatever they choose, because you're giving them choice. You're empowering them to be in charge. Because how often do we see parents say, don't touch this, stop doing that? A constant. I've done it myself.
I have too.
And,
Sorry, kids.
and we're, I'm the adult, you're the child. But allowing them to direct our play, our time with them, empowers them, makes them feel more comfortable, builds up their self-esteem.
Wow.
It's incredible when you see it work.
So it's important that our children play.
Very important. It's important that we all play, but it's very important for children to play, because that's their language.
Do you think the screens have gotten in the way of play?
Yes, definitely. I believe there's times that you can sit down and play with your child, like on a video game, like Sonic or Mario Brothers or something. Sit and play with them. That could be your 15-30 minutes.
Because that's good too, because they just need time.
But there also needs to be play with toys. Toys are not obsolete, but sometimes they feel like that. And when kids come into my playroom, their eyes get wide and they go through everything. I can play with all of this. Yes. And there are no rules unless something happens, and then I have to set boundaries. But other than that, it's their safe space.
Wow.
And being a safe adult, if that rapport is built with me, is amazing. And they feel safe, and they can say and do things that they want to.
Which probably is very liberating, and able to have them express how they're feeling and what they need that they've been trapped inside.
Oh, yeah.
Not being able to say, right?
Right.
Wow. Well,
Right.
Why do you like the inUpowers program? Besides the fact that you helped us with the play therapies and all the things that you did, which is incredible, guys. And that will be launching after the program, which is soon, hopefully soon. We don't have a date on that yet, but she's done some amazing work. Why do you like the inUpowers program?
I think my favorite part are the characters. Because you look at the characters and you can feel the emotion coming through them. If that's, sadness, anger, envy, jealousy, or happiness, or strength, or courage, and being able to relate to them, the color, the definition of each character, because they're not people characters.
Right.
They're weather, their storms, or their body parts, body organs, and each body organ represents a certain
gift we all have.
Yes. But we can all relate to both storms and knowing our body parts.
How are the kids with that?
Really good, because they can identify them. They love the colors. They love the defining parts of the characters. Like, oh, this like the sandy one.
At
I
know, yes. We've got a microphone and a camera on. She's like,
So it's sandy. I have a sand tray in my office. It doesn't stay together. It doesn't function very well. compared to somebody like Phil. You look at Phil and like, whoa, he's strong.
Mm-hmm.
He has defined muscles. He's courageous and brave, and you see, what he's wearing, his shoes, the bags that they wear, just all the details that go into it. Kids notice that, and pictures and colors are what a lot of people see. Very visual things, a lot of people see, as far as they get things, they understand, they comprehend, what they see more than someone telling them what something is.
Right, because it's different for different people.
Yes.
Stress is different in different people, is that correct?
Correct.
And sadness is different.
Yes.
And what would be trauma for one person is not always trauma for someone else, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you taught me those things. You're like, in fact, when we were talking about trauma, you told me like the different scenarios, what could actually be trauma for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you tell the expanse of what's trauma to a person, like the little trauma that could be a big trauma for one person, which is also, I know I'm talking to a trauma, like she does so much trauma therapy, but like, do you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say, like the window of tolerance, like how different it can be for each individual, why the characters make it easy. Could you explain like the difference in trauma for people?
Oh, yes. It's something about trauma is it's not exactly the trauma, it's not exactly what happened, it's how we respond to it. So our amygdala is a fight, flight, or freeze. And depending on kind of your personality, depends on how you respond to it. So let's say you're going for a hike in the woods, all right? A bear comes or a mountain lion. A lot of people freeze and start shaking, and I don't know what to do, start crying. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I would do that.
And there are people who would run, which is what we're taught to do with those kind of in certain scenarios like that. But or there's people who will fight, and that wouldn't be a situation usually you fight in. But there's those people
fighting a bear. But yes.
People have different reactions to different situations. If you were in a car accident, somebody gets in a car accident on a certain road, there are people who will not go down that road ever again.
Wow.
Because they think it's a repeat. And that's the thing about the amygdala, is that when we go through something where we're familiar with where it happened, and so sometimes that becomes where we get stuck.
Oh.
And so it's trying to get out of, it happened the one time. It's not every time we go down there that's going to happen again. And so it's learning skills. It's learning these characters. Okay, I feel like Et right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm falling apart. What do I do? So we think of Peg.
Protective, encouraging guidance. Use your gut intuition.
And so it's like, you do some self-talk, and like, you know what? I'm okay. I can get through this. I can feel the feelings, but then I need to recognize I need to move on. I can't stay stuck in this position. So whatever trauma that may be, it could be, going to the dentist. I have kids who go to the dentist, and that's very traumatizing for me. Oh, the needles. I'm so scared of the needles. So they freeze, or they scream, or they yell, or have a meltdown. I'm not going.
Right.
And so educating them on, maybe talking about the medication and how it helps us feel better. Or, I can take my stuffy in and squeeze him while I'm doing that. Or just finding different ways to be able to deal with that situation instead of, letting that freeze get to us and not being able to do things, letting that emotional part of us take over. And I think the characters we can relate to, each one, we can relate to every one of them at different times in our lives.
Right, because they're all in us.
They're all in us.
All the time.
So it is really important not to just think you're stick with one character.
or label anyone.
Oh,
that's wonderful. Yes, let the
definitely.
therapist tell you, never label anyone the character. Because we're all of
Yes,
them.
definitely. At different times in our life, we experience a little bit of all of them.
Right.
You know.
And isn't it interesting that the dentist for one person can be traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
and a bear or a car accident, and other people that wasn't the trauma that got them. It was, for me, like a test at school or writing a paper. People are like, I loved writing papers. I did such a great job, but because of the holes in my brain and because of my epilepsy and all of that stuff, every time I was asked to do an essay, I would have a seizure. And so they would say, you have to write something. I'm like, oh my goodness. And it was that same response, even though it was happening differently, or it was a different teacher, or it was a different way, and I was a little bit smarter. The fact that reading made me so sick triggered that same thing. So for a lot of people that are listening, an essay or writing a paper is not stressful to them. But to me, it was trauma.
Yeah. Anything can be traumatic for us.
And that's valuable to know.
It is.
Anything can be traumatic for us. And we, because of how what's the name of that thing? I can't say it.
Amygdala.
Thank you. Say it again.
Amygdala.
Amygdala. The base part of your brain where the emotions come from, right?
In the center of your brain.
Oh, even better. I've always just seen the picture.
Yep.
I thought, oh, that's the base. No, it's the center.
It's the center of the brain. Yeah.
So from the inside out, literally.
Yes. Yep. And so the thing about the brain is, your back is the reptile brain. So that's your basic necessities. How do I find food, clothing, shelter? Those are like your basic animals, like your turtles, your lizards. It's all of us, because we need those basic necessities. The center part of our brain is the emotion, the memory, and then we have the cognitive, and that's how it grows from when we're born till we're an actual adult. Our brain is not fully developed till 24, 25.
How sad is that? Because, I knew it all at 18. I don't know about any of you out there, but I had it all figured out, and I did not know why the world wasn't listening to me.
Exactly. Because somebody labeled 18 adult age.
Yes.
Somebody labeled that. But our brain's still not fully developed.
Oh, clearly I was not.
Me either. But it's interesting to know. But when we have the cognitive, that can help us with the emotional piece. And that's where some of the characters come in. Once we recognize them, I can identify each of the characters and what they represent and how we relate to them. Like, okay, I am being Ray right now, really full of anger and rage. Which character can help me?
Real quick, for those who are listening, Ray is Rage, Anxiety, Explosion. He is a storm cloud full of worry and stress and anger and frustration, and it just has to come out. So his Rage, Anxiety, Explosion can come out like tears or verbal abuse, frustration, or he'll have a lightning bolt. He'll hit something or someone, or just overstimulated. But that anger piece, sorry, I was just going to help him understand the character real quick
that's
with
good.
a visual.
That's good. I didn't describe that, but yeah, having that, and then choosing, let's see, who would be a good one to alternate with Ray?
That's the best part. It's all of them. So it depends on who you wanted the type. Progress over perfection.
Yeah. All of them. They all have their certain things, and once we can identify with them and, okay, I'm feeling a little bit like this, I think that okay, now I can use, some of the skills. Once I'm aware of what's going on, then I'm like, okay, this is the alternate. This is what's going to help me be able to cope with this anger that I have, the rage, and I think this program is amazing. Once you learn it, once you learn the characters and the be still and the sorry, I forgot the part of the calming part.
The be still. There's the body scan.
The body scan and just awareness.
Just all the pieces that go with the program to have other calming opportunities for us.
Yes, which there's it's always been out there. There's a lot of things out there, but this program is just amazing because it's very specific and it's very detailed, and people can relate to it. it's very relatable. And so I'm really excited about it. I'm very grateful to be a part of it.
Oh, we're so super grateful to have you be a part of it. And what I love is that you are explaining like the characters and then like a response and how trauma affects everyone, but that we're a lot the same. Like you didn't say, oh, this kind of child uses this, and this kind of person, or this adult, or this parent, or this uses this. It's for all.
Yes. Yes.
And people use it differently, correct?
Correct.
Because
right. Different cultures.
Right.
Even different races. I mean, I'm not separating that. I'm just saying there's culturally things that different people do.
Right.
And so moving into a different culture where they do things differently is like kind of a shock. And so that could be a little traumatic. How do I fit in? Or even just going to school for the first day.
Right.
You know?
That's scary for a kid.
Yeah. And so there different scenarios like that brings race and culture and age and development and even with our LGBTQ communities.
Yes.
That becomes, difficult for them. School or a new area or whatever, just it can relate to anyone.
Because we're one human family.
Yes, we're still human beings.
Right?
No matter what we relate to or identify as or culture or what race or what sex we are.
Right. We are humans.
We are.
And we are better together.
Agreed.
And I'm so honored to have our licensed clinical social worker with us today. She is truly incredible. I have learned so much from her, and she's been on instant phone dial lots through this whole process. Hey, what does this mean? What is that? Well, how does the brain, just like what you all learned just now. We do want to invite you to be able to do something at the beginning of the podcast. We talked about how it's easy to understand visuals and relate. If you haven't checked out our website, please go to our website, inUpowers.com, and you will be able to meet the characters and actually see them for yourselves if you have not yet, and understand a little bit of what we've been talking about, and know that you are very loved. Is there anything you want the world to know? Or anything you just want to say?
Check out the website. Children are important. Adolescents are important. Adults are important. Learning to be able to identify our emotions. To recognize our somatic, how our body relates to our mind and what we feel in our body. And be able, if you need to, go to therapy, go to counseling, get some tools to help you. There's help out there, even if you feel very alone. This program, look into this program, go to the website. It gives a great amount of information and it can relate to anyone. And it's a fun way to learn, but it's very real. You can relate to these characters. And that we all are human. We're all good people. And sometimes we all need a little bit of help.
I love that. If you're listening to us and you need help, know that you're loved. And my team and I, who now you are starting to meet, are phenomenal. We worked really hard so that you had a place to go and to know that you are loved. You are not alone. You matter, and you make a giant difference in the world. Please, if you are struggling, our invitation is, if you are struggling, or someone you know is struggling with their mental health, or feeling value, or being able to get through their storm, find help for them. Check out our website. Get the program. Do whatever's the most right for them. We might not be the right fit, but know that you matter, you are enough, and you're brilliantly made to be great. Thank you for joining us. And remember, emotions are information and behavior is a choice. You're brilliantly made to be great. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the inUpowers podcast. We are grateful you are here. Please share this podcast with those you know who might need it, and follow and rate us so we can continue providing this podcast to you. Follow us on social media to see more visuals about the inUpowers, and join us next week for another episode. Until then, remember the power to choose is in you.